This time in Nugget Garage we're getting back into the 2JZ VL. We're going to do some transcooler lines and a few other bits and pieces, and Scott's going to do a whole bunch of wiring. So if you want to learn stuff about things, hang about.
I think the plan of attack is we're gonna try and make this thing run by the end of this episode.
Really?
Even though you don't have coil packs, but Gold will be sending us a care package right as we speak for that. We're gonna use R35 coils and a harness. So I think the plan of attack is we've already got the battery cables run, but we haven't got a chassis earth or anything done. So we're gonna do the chassis earth first. We're gonna modify the original battery harness so we can power up the actual car harness. And then we'll figure out where the start relay is. I think it's one of those ones. Over there.
Over there somewhere.
And that'll dictate where I run the start wire through the actual loom in the link. I need to try and figure out the position of everything, and then I'm going to try and keep that loom mostly intact. It's a, what is it, a Tefcell, it's like a mil-spec wiring harness on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and pull wires through and try and keep it as it is, because it's all set up for a JZ.
Yeah, it's all off of 1J, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got to move the cam angle sensor because we're using a Hall effect, which means we're going to have to send an extra power wire through it somewhere as well. Hopefully there's a spare wire I can use that's inside the loom. But before we do that, yeah, we'll get the car powered up, and I think I'll do the boot wiring, 3 relays for fuel pumps, and that way that's all done.
Cool.
And then we'll lay the harness on the floor, and we'll do that on the floor. That's how we roll. So I reckon we're going to just put a nurse strap from the engine to the sway bar bolt. We'll run a tap through both so that it's got a good clean connection. This is essentially, I guess, the earth return for the hole. That's probably too small now, I'm thinking about it. But I'll put another one in the boot as well, because I'm going to have 3 fuel pumps back there chewing some power. And to keep it simple, I'm going to run the actual car loom off the alternator charge post. So I figured I may as well overkill the wire from the starter back to the alternator, because it's going to have to do the charging and the main power flight supply for the car. Baby DeWalt.
It's only the power tap of 1000.
Oh no. Needs more power, Captain. Clean. Temporary starter 2.0.
I know.
Where do you want to run the wire?
4.
Maybe down here. Sneak it along there.
Yeah.
It's hook up onto there, up onto there. You hold that bit.
I have to bring a bit more back this way.
You want more?
Yeah, just to come over this f***ing thing a bit neater. Your colours aren't as good as John's.
It's probably a tool for this. I don't got it.
Yeah, you do. Right there.
There's another one. It's only a few little stragglers. Little bastards.
So that's a mil-spec vise?
This is a mil-spec vise, and this is a mil-spec solder meltering device. Go big or go home. It's fine. The trick is to not wick it down so far that the cable becomes brittle. He's breathing like Darth Vader. So am I.
You're burning the stuff. You're dodgy.
That's what heat shrink's for. It's like black. It's like black paint in the exhaust industry. Well, if I had my safety glasses on and did it,
Would have been okay then, huh?
I'm gonna get a new set. We ran over them.
It's not very safe, were they?
No. Didn't even stop the car or anything. Ooh, hello. So this is the stock battery harness. I cut and shut it and joined it to some fresh wires using some kind of industry standard technique. No. It involved an oxy, some solder, some heat shrink. How hidden do you want this?
Pretty hidden. Just put a little bit extra, like an extra couple of inches on, and because I'll probably stick it in the end of that rail and bring it up through that hole maybe. There's another hole directly under that pipe that I'll probably bring it up through.
Flawless victory. See a bit of wires? It's good, eh? We'll fix that up another day. So lay in some cable. I'll turn the ignition on and see if smoke comes out.
Ooh, there's a light. Apparently it's got a park brake. That help?
Does it have such favourites as headlights and indicators? Oh, it does.
Gotta get your wiring bench ready. Good size bench. And every time I touch wiring, smoke comes out of it. So they only put a certain amount of smoke in those wiring, and when it comes out, it doesn't work anymore.
You can get a tool that will put the smoke back in the wire.
Can you?
No. See, we've actually just melted the nylock part out, but I've munted the end of the thread so it can't come off.
Super locked.
Super locked. You corner and drilled that one slightly too high. Look at it. Would you look at that?
Do it again.
This is the kind of detail we go into in the new Nugget garage. It's not Nugget anymore, it's Nugget. Ah, it wasn't a drilling error, it was an assembly error. This means my hole's plus or minus 2 mil. Yeah.
Look at it.
Don't look too close. I want to do it correctly, but...
What do you mean butt? Why is there a butt on the end of that? Oh.
No, actually, we need to go and steal some more stuff from Redlands Auto Electrics.
Sorry, John. Hello, Mr. John, you here? Coast is clear, run! Oh, he's got lots of wire to steal here. I reckon this is actually a chargeable offence. That sucks. Tell us all about it, bro.
Basically there's 3 fuel pumps, one in the tank, 2 in the surge. So we're going to run them staged. And obviously the one in the tank runs on its own, so it's going to use 3 relays. Probably could have got a 2, but like it. And put a fuse holder here. So I'm basically just going to run battery to 3 wires to that. I'm going to put a dodge plug on a connector here, which will have the 2 triggers, one for the first pump and the in-tank pump, and another trigger for the secondary pump. Right, so I think I'm going to make a 10mm aluminium plate under the battery that incorporates like the battery holder and bolts to the body. So I think we'll put a little riser piece or something to hold that next to the battery, which means now we're just got to figure out wiring lengths and whatnot. So this will be lift pump and 1 in-surge tank pump. Doesn't sound right. Is there a chance that you've got the pump in the tank backwards wired? No pressure?
No.
It doesn't sound like it's filling the surge tank. Oh, it sounds like it's not in the fuel, or it's turning the wrong way.
It's got to be in fuel.
Did you wire it up?
Yeah, it's only 2 wires.
That sounds a bit different.
Pressure up here.
Still?
There is pressure.
About 2 pumps.
It's about 50 psi.
That's all the pumps.
Did that just bleed all the air out of it?
You had your pump backwards. Come on, you had one job. 50,
Told you I don't know wiring, dude.
50-50 chance of getting it. Okay, so we've got the car body harness powered up. We've got the fuel pump, relays, all that stuff in there. We've tested it, we've put fuel in it. Miraculously, the fuel system didn't leak. It bled up. The 2 wires that Chris actually managed to join up on this car, he got backwards. So when we first tested it, the in-tank pump was backwards, which is quite hilarious. So this is the next step. This harness is out of our friend Arthur's Sora 1JZ. Someone did a nice job making the harness. I'm going to try and not pull it apart. Everything's roughly in the right spot except for the cam angle sensor. On this engine we're using a 3-wire Hall effect style one, which is on the cam gear, so I've got to extend that. Also means I've somehow got to get a 5 volt, 8 volt, 12 volt, whatever it is, to it as well, because it needs an extra wire. So I'll try and hopefully pull or decommission something else in the harness and use its wire. There's also a bit of interfacing going on here back to the Sora dash. I'll have to sort of back probe all them and work out what's doing what. This sensor block, I think I don't have to change that wiring, do I? You're going to make everything work onto that. The injector harness, we've got 2, the right one and the wrong one. I should be able to pull the pins out of the connectors and make that work right. And there is a coil harness that has Yaris coils on it, so we're going to use R35, so I have to change those over. I'm going to try and get the whole thing finished on the ground, completely wired, so that I can just throw it through the hole, plug it in, and we'll put a couple of Deutsch connectors on here for power ins and power outs, and it's obviously going to be 2 relays as well for ignition and injection. Anyway, we'll lay it on the ground and get into it. It's going to be a big job.
Is that John's stuff that you stole that you should give back?
No, it. Mine.
Keeping it now. There's not much left of that anyway, so there's no point giving it
No,
back.
I was doing him a favour.
You were, really.
So that's obviously speed sensor. And I would say it's also reverse. Don't need that shit.
Don't want it?
Depends if we can pull it back through the harness or not. Hello, Governor. Ooh, you can. Oh no, I've messed it up. Oops. Almost like the wiring harness has the same colour wiring all the way through.
You mean like he's done it properly? What? He does.
1, 2, 3 across, 2 down. Temp 1. Strict diet to maintain this physique.
A strict diet to maintain that physique.
It's hard work.
Bro, you look like a lowercase b sitting down. What are you talking about?
I need a efficient power. This calls for some a trailer wire.
Could be an ad.
Oh, dumbass.
So, what's all these ones for? Because the other ones are in the boot, so these are under the dash.
One of them powers up the coil harness. The other one powers up the ECU and the injector harness. I actually need 2 more relays because we need trans brake and trans cooler fan. But John's not open. He's sleeping in.
I didn't stop it yesterday.
I know. I gave his key back.
Oh.
So pretty much now if I run this back to a decent sized battery source and earth this and give that power, that harness should be live. Oh, you got to put earths on. Someone did it the correct way and the earths are actually on the engine.
That's weird.
Yeah. Electronic wouldn't need that.
Righto, while Scott's over there doing all the wiring that I know nothing about, I'm going to do the transmission cooler lines. The trans cooler lines we had were a bit junk. Golby sent us some new fittings and some new Teflon braided line. So I'm going to get in there and make that up, and then we can put some fluid in the box. There'll be another tick off the list.
I'm going to buy some jelly beans for Kevin.
Kevin would look sick with jelly beans.
No, you wouldn't, mate. You're a f***ing weirdo, eh?
Fuck yeah, jelly beans on Kevo. Hey, be like his own little mullet.
12 slotters for f***ing Bazza.
I like how all the wires are red.
Do you have a shelf full of multicoloured wires because I got a lot of red. Actually, I don't even have red. John had red. All right, so this is a fantastically wonderful looking infusion of someone who spent money on a harness with decent coverings and wires to someone who doesn't spend money like Chris. So this is mainly made out of Nava wire and crap.
Right.
Anyway, it's sound, it'll work. It's got 4 relays, ignition coils, injection, and we're going to do trans brake and trans cooler fan. Wire them all to a Deutsch plug so I can interface it with the car later. That's just going to be ignition trigger, a couple of triggers for the fans and trans brakes, and then outputs for the fans and trans brakes. On the original 1J loom, I've pulled out all the wires that we didn't need. There's a lot of body harness stuff going through it. I've left a few of them in there for future, mainly because I couldn't get them out. It's too tight in places, but if I need to send something down there later, we'll use one of these. I pinched one of the knock sensor wires because Chris isn't a bitch, he's not going to run knock sensors. And I used that for the 8-volt supply for the new Hall effect sensor that's got to be on the front of the engine, because this was wired for the reluctor on the head on a 1J. So I've extended that. We've used the same cable covering, so it kind of looks the same. I guess now we've got to get it into the car and do this little sub-harnessy bit, put it onto the engine. I've also got to change repin the R35 coil harness and the injector harness to suit these Deutsch plugs. So I'm probably have to back probe it a little bit for that. All right, we'll do that now. All right, so after about 16 hours of plugging holes that Chris didn't plug and tightening up shit that Chris didn't tighten up, we're finally up to the stage where we can sort of put the core bracket on and pull the loom through, plug it all together. In the background, I've actually already wired like the ignition, power and ground to a plug for it, and the fuel pumps to a plug, so everything should just plug in. I've re-gone through the engine bay and put connectors on all of the accessories, TPS, crank angle sensor, cam angle sensor, Mac valve. We've put the EKZ block. It's just sitting on the piss a little bit because one of the lines is slightly too short, so that can be a Chris job. Herman in his pants from Platinum Racing Products. He's hooked us up. Well, actually, Golby got it for us because he's got influence. It's a GTE coil bracket, and apparently it has these little bridge things that make it work on a GE, but so far it doesn't scream out how that's done, so we're not doing that for now. So it's R35 coils. You've got to pull the stems off, change to his stem. They normally have an O-ring on here, but for some reason it keeps getting caught and jamming up, so I've taken them off for now.
Herman in his pants is an RB guy too.
Yeah, he's an RB guy, so all of his 2J stuff has little penises on it, which I think it's an accurate representation of his penis, perhaps.
Possibly.
To scale.
Or maybe he's putting the penis on this one, so it denotes that that's the man's car parts.
It's a man's one, yeah. Another thing that we had to do and I didn't realise is the crossover pipes for the crankcase ventilation were in the way of all the coils, so I've had to cut down some bolts and shit and tap threads and make bungy things so the coils fit in. That was another fun job. Inserting Herman's penis into Junior Easy.
Would you look at it? Herman's penis popped up.
Yeah. It's getting excited by the 2JZ. So we were going to start it this morning, but Chris failed to put ATF in the gearbox.
Wow.
Just once again, letting down the team.
Oh wow.
All right, so I pushed those coils down using an industry standard technique. They're pretty tight, eh?
That's big.
You must punch up a bit more because that sensor plug needs to stay with the
I
sensor.
don't even touch.
Which one's that? That's a coil leaf, or the injection?
I knew which one's which.
Some of those have to be off over the top. That one there stays that side. This one here has to go over here. Well, I want to crank and see if I get RPM. I should turn the injectors off though. To sync. I'll wait up.
That wraps up this week on the VL. It bloody runs, which is it hasn't done that for like 8 years, which is awesome for me.
It was on five. It was on 5 cylinders though.
Running's running. Let's not get fussy. Still a heap of bits and pieces to fix up, like little lines, tuck up some wiring and all that kind of junk. Still got to do exhaust, a tail shaft, shifter cable, all that kind of junk as well. So plenty left to do yet. Dave from OCD Fab, or 180 Fab, he's making up some catch cans and that, so we'll probably look at that next time on this, I guess. So
yeah, that was a fair bit of work in this week.
Yeah, it was massive amount. So
Chris's version of being ready for wiring wasn't really there. There was lots of holes. There was lots of fittings that went in there. Yeah, it was good fun.
Anywho.
Yeah. We got there in the end. And it started and ran fine, and the wiring was flawless.
It's awesome. I like it. I'm stoked.
Sounds pretty pissed off.
Yeah, it's pretty grumpy.
The 5-cylinder thing was number 4 injector. The pin was bent.
Oh yeah.
Some meathead pushed the pin in on too hard.
It was probably you.
That was you.
Okay, fine, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Bit of a shout out to Kirsten at Golliby's for supplying some bits in with no notice. Just shipped them out pretty quick. And Herman and his pant, got that coil bracket.
Yeah, give us a call and tell us how those little things fit for the GE, because I can't figure it out.
It's not an RB, he doesn't care.
No.
Alright, so next week we're back to Scott Supra. Got a few things to do on that too. So,
a few 100,000 things to do, but
yeah.
Yep.
There's more to do on that than there was on this.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so alright.
Alright.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. okay. They actually have a key. It's fine.
Your dog is a Nugget Garage shirt. Your dog is a. The suspense is killing me.
Do the raw.
Well, you can buy to do this. Looks like a cross between a pap smear test and tampon applicator. Can't use that either.
I'm gonna.
It is a bit small, but it's what I got. Story of my life here. It's worked at least 5 times.
Are you gonna talk shit?
A little bit.
Alright, talk shit to your Google.
Oh, don't corrupt my shit.
You have to corrupt your Google search. It's going to be filled with RB stuff now.
Go again. The internet was correct.
Bullshit.
Is there anything else you're going to put in the boot that I don't know about?
Gas?
Yeah, but you won't need a bottle warmer.
I might put my laundry in there one day if the washing machine breaks down. Does that count?
I'm talking about electrically.
Oh. So what about like not a new TV or anything? Said we were mates.
I only associate with you because it makes me feel super intelligent.
Fair cool.
Enthusiastic.
Where'd you go?